You got to be quicker than that if you're going to actually, try that. But is it John?
That's John. Yeah.
Hey, welcome
Am I on
John.
TV?
You're on TV.
Cool. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Hey, would you talk about some other faiths?
The what?
I mean, I haven't seen your show a whole bunch, but I flipped through the TV and I've seen y'all on a time or two. And mostly what I see is, well, doing today, or what I've seen in the last 30 minutes, the Christian.
Yeah, you know why?
Bashing. Huh?
You know why?
Because you live in a Christian society and it's what's around you, and so you comment on it?
Yeah. And,
okay,
and,
great,
and also
great,
because
great.
those
But
are the
could you
people
just
who
take
call
a
us.
moment and talk about some others?
Yeah, and if we have tons of time. As a matter of fact, almost all the programs are available on Google Video, and we've done shows on nearly every religion I can think of. But the show's mostly caller-driven, and I don't get a lot of Hindu callers. I'd be happy to discuss it with them, but one of the things is that I don't want to come on here too often and presume what other people believe. I'd rather have them, as I did with Stan, tell me what they believe, and we'll discuss whether or not I think there's any reason.
You presumed quite a bit about what Stan believed. It seemed like to me.
Well, Stan and I have had a lot of conversations on the show, so I already know what some of his answers are.
Well, that may be true. That may be true. But just do me a favor. Talk a bit on, I'll give you two. Scientology, Church of Scientology.
I did actually one of the very first programs I ever did was an entire show on Scientology and their wacky beliefs and how this is a money-sucking cult that is dangerous.
Awesome. Well, tell me some more about that. Could you just tell me about it?
Like what?
Well, I don't know much about it. I'm calling. I accept.
Well, you can go down. You can go down to the Scientology Center and you can get some of their information. But essentially, L. Ron Hubbard was a science fiction author and decided to basically invent a religion. You can go, as the website on the screen shows, there's information at clambake.org. The general principle is that there are spiritual beings called thetans glommed all over you, and they're the source of all misery and everything else. And your job is to sit there and clear yourself and become clear by removing these body thetans that are essentially poisoning your real being.
Okay, what's the extortion angle?
Oh, well, essentially you have to buy their products to learn more and more about their religion.
That's part of their doctrine. That's the one way to freedom from the, I'm sorry, did you say thetans?
Thetans, body thetans. It's not necessarily, I don't know that it's the one way to salvation, because actually if you don't have enough money, you can in fact sign a contract for, I think it's 1 billion years is the minimum term, and actually work for them on either their Sea Org vessels or in one of the Scientology centers. And you, as part of your earnings, you can then purchase the higher level materials.
Oh, well, at least they make accommodations. What about...
Yeah, the problem is that the accommodations really kind of segregate you from everybody else that's not a Scientologist, and in some cases has actually led to the death of members because they... And there's a big dispute about what actually happened. But
I'm sorry, did you say real death of real people?
Yes. You
That'd
can
be
find out more about that at
stuff on that.
Sorry?
Where could I find information on that?
Why, the website on your screen right now has more information about that.
Okay. Well, thank you. I didn't mean to offend you guys. I was just asking some...
No, I'm not offended. The best thing I can suggest, though, is to go to atheist-experience.com, click on Archives, and then expand the archives so that you can see all of them on the page. There's a listing of every show we've done and what the topics are. Most of them are available on Google Video, and there have been shows on Scientology, Muslims, Hinduism,
Judaism.
We've done Judaism and some of the kind of how religions have adopted things from other religions.
And we're glad to discuss this stuff if we have actually, callers calling in, asking questions, giving their perspective and stuff like that. We'll gladly discuss it.
Well, good. Gladly discuss.
But if everybody calls in and says, I want to discuss, Jesus, well, that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay, let's talk about Muhammad's claims as a prophet. Tell me why this is foolish.
About what?
Nation of Islam, Muhammad, the prophet. Tell me about that.
Mostly that's very much the same as Jesus. It's
what
a guy who
What do you want to know? I mean, my interest here is in what the callers believe and what they want to discuss, and we can have a conversation about it. I don't just come on here to give Wikipedia snippets
Well,
on
I've read
every
the Bible,
religion of the
so
world.
when you tell me about the contradictions in it and the fairy tale nature of this or that or the other, I can follow all that. I haven't done that for the Quran, but I'm assuming that you have.
I'm sorry.
I was just
Your call's really breaking up. What is it? What is the problem or the point?
I'm asking. I was going to ask you to enlighten me on the your views of the Quran. I'm saying that I've read the Bible, so when you refer back to various things in it, I can follow.
Right.
But the Quran, which I've never heard you talk about, I don't know. So I was wondering, can you tell me something in there that is particularly foolish in your opinion? For example, correlated to the Bible discussion, God commanding the Israelites to wipe out a community for
Sure, there's
sanctity
specific
reasons.
passages in there saying that infidels should not be allowed to live. The problem is that there's also passages in there saying that they are. There's similar. Actually, a really good site for information on that is skepticsannotatedbible.com because they also have a Skeptics Annotated Quran. It's not complete and exhaustive.
Skeptic Annotated Bible?
Yes.
Is that a website too?
Skepticsannotatedbible.com is a good website that also has the Skeptics Annotated Quran. My point of this isn't just to pick out a religion and tell you everything that's wrong with it. The things that we end up discussing are what people believe and why, and whether or not a belief is justified. So, and I don't pretend to be an expert in Islam or even Scientology, even though I did the one show on Scientology, or even Christianity, despite my experience there as well. It just happens to be the most common. My objection to Islam, for example, and there's plenty that are about kind of the ethics and the teachings of Islam. But my real objection is that nobody has presented me with sufficient evidence to believe that the claims of Islam are true. That's it.
Or any religion, for that.
And that's true for any religion. That's the only issue. They are making a claim, and they are failing to meet their burden of proof to demonstrate that it's true. And until such time as one of them does, the default position is to reject all of them. We're out of time again this week. Thanks. We got like 30 seconds or so left. Thanks to John, Tim, and Stan for calling in. We still didn't get to all the rest of the crazy stuff in this diatribe from Christian Peace. We'll be back again next week. There's a listing of the crew. We appreciate everybody's help. And we'll see you next week. Join us at El Arroyo on 5th Street in just a few minutes.